Um, okay, what's this letter we got from Hopatcong today?
So I think Mayor Francis is on as well. So I don't know if he wants to make any comment, but so when Hopatcong applied for the HAB grant, they received, so they applied for two parts. One was this aeration system, which they've received the funds for, and the second part was BioBlast, I think is the name of the technology, which is like a bioremediation for cyanobacteria. So you're introducing a good bacteria to combat the cyanobacteria. Is that right, Fred?
They outcompete. There's,
Yeah.
I guess what they do is they outcompete for the nutrients.
Right. Oh,
specific-
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So DEP financed through the HAB grant the aeration system, but they did not finance the BioBlast treatment. So what the Borough of Hopatcong was presenting to both the Commission and Foundation for some help with funding was 2 treatments of BioBlast, and I think the total was about $21,000 for those 2 treatments. That would be for just this year. You know, next year there would need to be additional treatments, most likely, from what I understood from speaking with the mayor today.
So just start the discussion. No question, it's a great idea and a great project. But if we get involved in funding some of these local grants, what's going to happen with the other towns when they come up with things that are short? Are they going to? How can we say yes to one and no to another? I mean, we're having enough of our own funding problems. I mean, so I don't know. What does anybody think about that?
It's my understanding that this was going to be funded out of additional HAB grants, and I know I was completing my run yesterday evening, and the mayor drove by me and he stopped, and he's with us tonight, and he asked me to obviously present this and advocate for it. So I understand that these are the same folks that put in the aeration system in the River Styx, and I've gotten nothing but positive comments from the people I've run into that live in the River Styx about that system. So as I understand this and as I read this, and Dr. Lubnow, correct me if I'm wrong, this would seem to augment and help the aeration system. So I think, if I understand what the borough is looking for, is that we could take some of the HAB money and use it towards this cause in the River Styx, which historically is one of the worst water quality areas of the lake.
If we can get it from the HAB, that's fine.
Wait a second. So the funds that we have that were received through the 319, the non-point source pollution grant, those are committed to the projects that we've proposed to DEP. So there, you know, unless there is some addition, you know, in prior 319 grants, we were able to do some other projects. When we found out that there was leftover funds, like the 319 grant, we were able to do the limited bathymetric study. But now, you know, the funds that we found out about today, they are committed to certain projects.
What I don't understand, the aeration systems were funded by a grant, correct? Why didn't they go all the way and also fund the second part, which, according to the literature that you sent us, is necessary, often necessary for the aeration systems to be effective?
So I can address some of these. I can address some of these questions. So first, Colleen, like you said, the existing HAB grant and the 319 grant that were awarded, all that money right now is identified for projects, number one. So there's no extra money in those right at this point in time. Number two, DEP, there were certain technologies DEP was not interested in funding or only wanted to limit the funding. For example, remember we wanted to do the ultrasonic unit, and they and DEP just said, no, we're not doing ultrasonic unit. And not just your lake, but Lake Mohawk. They also would not, Lake Mohawk got a HAB grant, but they would not do the ultrasonic. They're doing it one other lake. The same thing with the bacterial products, that DEP decided they were not going to spend money on bacterial products. Why? I can't answer that. I just know there were certain technologies that DEP said we will not put funding toward, and bacterial inoculants were one of those.
Having said all that, Fred, assuming funding was not an issue, what do you think of this Everblue Lakes proposal?
I mean, I do know that the bacterial products can be effective. I've seen them work and I've seen them not work. And there are a couple factors that usually come into play. One is for a lot of the products, and again, I don't know what the proprietary mix of bacteria are, but I know for a lot of the products, when the pH gets too high, a lot of the bacteria will shut down. So if you get up, like say you're in the middle of summer right now and you have a lot of weed growth and if the pH creeps up to like 8.5, a lot of times those bacteria will shut down. The other thing to keep in mind is flushing. So I think River Styx Crescent Cove is probably the best location if you're going to try this, to try it because you don't have a lot of flushing. But imagine if you added this product right before the hurricane, that the efficiency of the product probably would not be as high as it would be if you added it and you had, you know, dry conditions or a small storm event. So it's like anything. It's any one of these techniques, they have their value, their limitations, and their costs. So this is a pretty innovative technology, and I don't know the specific mix of the bacteria, but I do know there are products that you can add that will outcompete with the blue-green algae for nutrients. And this certainly could be one of those. It's just that keep that in mind that, you know, there are some limitations. Some of the bacteria may shut down once you get a high pH, or if you have a big storm event, it may flush a lot of the product out and it may decrease in efficiency. But yes, this is a technology that has been applied elsewhere.
Fred, will this interfere if we do it with knowing how effective these units are as part of our study here
When you say units, do you mean the aeration units or do you mean the aquafilter?
No, I mean the aeration units that are in.
My understanding is that they go hand in hand. That and the whole concept is for a lot of these bacteria to work, you want to keep everything well oxygenated. So I think if anything, I can see doing both at the same time because that's what you're supposed to have a well oxygenated system, a lot of oxygen, a lot of those heterotrophic bacteria will munch up all those nutrients. So it's not an either or thing. It's actually, I'm based on what I read, it's more synergistic. It's like you both at the same time will enhance the result.
Is there any chance that it'll have the opposite effect?
I can't answer that because I don't know what the product is, but I do know from past bacterial products I've seen, there's been, from my experience, there's been no negative effect. Either you have a positive effect or there's no effect. I've never seen a negative effect, like all of a sudden the bloom's even worse or all of a sudden dissolved oxygen crashes. I haven't seen anything like that.
Fred, if I can throw something in there for the commission's consideration, that on this proposal, there is a performance guarantee. While not 100%, they do offer 50% off their fees for any further applications going forward after these two, should it not be as effective as we think and what this company's done in the past in their effectiveness. And if the commission so goes and considers this, it would be a shot in the arm for a lot of people to see a body of water that's continually been an eyesore for the commission. That should it looks, Colleen, I believe, was out there even recently to see what the aeration is doing. It's just this last piece of the puzzle that could turn this cove into something very positive. And I wish the mayor would come on board to say something, but I think he may have stepped away temporarily. So I just want to say that for him. And it's just it's a small little project, and that if it worked, it would be a model for a lot of other areas.
I think the mayor's there because I just see he unmuted himself.
Yes, I did. And
Hear
so,
from the mayor?
if what's going on here is I felt obligated to bring the commission on board. As anybody will listen to me, I think Crescent Cove is a very special piece of water, all 70 acres or so of it. And so one way or another, we're going to try to do this. I would much rather do it with the commission on board. That's up to the commission. The aeration grant that we got, for some reason, it wasn't about the technology with the bio, it was about the money. As I understand it, they just didn't want to give me any more money. And so I get that. And they were pretty honest about that when I asked them about that. But, you know, for this bio treatment, it's been used for decades, actually, they have. And I ran it last year. I ran it by the Rutgers Biology Department. They didn't have any problem at all with it. There are no EPA restrictions on the products that they use. And although I probably will need a permit from the DEP, that should not be a problem because it's absolutely non-toxic. You know, if you care to, I can give you a lot of details on it, but I have to tell you, it's a critical piece of the puzzle because the aeration really is for 2 weeks. I'm amazed that the difference is made already. But again, it's been only 2 weeks. There are, for anybody that doesn't know, there are 38 diffusers, and the diffusers are there's an air curtain in front of the bridge, and they're actually a microporous ceramic diffuser. Think of an air stone, if you will. And so the bubbles are much smaller. I can't use the word nano bubbles because I believe that's a patented word. So, but I'll use the word very small bubbles compared to normal aeration. And Fred laughed, but Fred knows what I'm talking about. So, but anyhow, it's a remarkable difference, and there's a lot going on when you use bottom diffusers like this. Not the least of which it does affect weed growth. It does not prevent weed growth, but it will discourage the weeds as we know them now because of the water movement. And so that was actually, it's good that if there's any good news, it's good that I was forced to put the aeration in first. But the next step really for Crescent Cove is to get at least 2 bio treatments in for this season. And there is a performance measurement with these. It's measurable, it's achievable. I'm very confident that it will work. If the money's not there, the money's not there. I'll have to look elsewhere. But in all honesty, I have to say to whoever I talk to, whether it's federal or state people, that I went to the Lake Foundation and the Lake Commission out of respect for what we're supposed to do as a commission and the foundation. So, and that's what I think is the right thing to do. It doesn't matter where it goes where it goes. But it always comes to the money, and sometimes that's a little bit discouraging to me because it's really about the lake. And to me, I'm passionate about our lake, and I will continue to work towards that. I'd rather everybody is on board when we do that, but I have to tell you, I am determined to make our lake cleaner, and I'm going to start with Crescent Cove. So, so if anybody wants to know about this technology, please contact me. I will give you, I've studied this for forever almost, it seems like, but these are technologies that it's not a trial. So anybody thinks that we're experimenting with something, please don't think we're experimenting. We are not experimenting with anything. We're using methodology and technology that have been used throughout the United States, from Vermont to Texas. And so is that guaranteed foolproof? Nothing is except taxes and death, but it's a very effective methodology to control the blue-green algae. And so I won't go on and on, which I can when I talk about our lake. But if you want to know more about the aeration system, come on over. I'll show you the compressor and the distribution box and how all that works. But it's just pretty neat. It's pretty good technology. It's really made for a long-term solution. So there's, there is a maintenance program for it. We'll do that. It costs about $6,000 a year to run the compressor that we use, and it's a high volume, low pressure. It pumps about, I don't know, 3 pounds, 4 pounds per gallon, but a huge volume. We're turning over Crescent Cove 1.4 times a day. So there is no thermocline. And so that being said, over the long term, just by oxygenate the water, it can be a damn good place to fish next year. But it does make a big difference. Now, I can't control what's going on near the shore. And when we have this heat and heavy rain like we had, you know, it will tone stuff down, but it's not the cure-all. It's not the silver bullet. It is a very powerful tool to keep things under control. But after that, you have to do some supplemental treatments to really treat the blue-green algae. Now, I can tell you Lake Carmi up in Vermont has chosen not to use bio. This is their second or third year with aeration, with the diffusers like I'm using, and they see a difference in the lake. Lake Heritage down by Harrisburg, they are using a combination, and they've taken a swamp and made it back into a lake. So I can, you know, there are dozens of lakes throughout the country. So please don't think this is an experiment. I'm poking and hoping. I am not. I would not do that. And so this is not an experiment. This is a really an exhibition of what's possible with different technologies that are used throughout the country. So that being said, if anybody wants further, please contact me. I'll give you a tour, or I can tell you where to go to look up all the information that I have to give you the confidence in new and different methodologies. So thank you.
Mayor, what are you looking exactly? What are you looking for from the commission to support you?
$21,600.
And who else is participating?
The Borough of Hopatcong.
Right. And has the foundation talked about supporting it?
I asked them. So I'm obligated to do that before I go to other people. They're going to say, well, did you talk to the commission? Did you talk to the foundation? And what did they say? And so that's how I work. And so it's very transparent.
So you'd be open if we could just support part of it, right?
Every little bit helps.
I don't know, what's the budget look like, Ron? It's good. We should be supporting municipalities.
Yes, I guess, and he made a good case, and so Fred added a little bit to it too. So, I mean, I don't think it's a matter of the funding, because our budget's in decent shape because we got this money now, even the 30 grand from last year. So, I don't think that's a problem. If he gets half funded by us, that's not good, because maybe he doesn't get the other half from somebody else. I don't know that. Does anybody have a number that they'd like to support? I mean,
I don't know. Hold on here a minute. Putting aside the efficacy of the treatment, I mean, just by the virtue of the existence of the lake and the increased property values, the townships, the municipalities make out very well in tax dollars. They should be giving money to the commission. We shouldn't be giving money to the towns.
They have given us money though, right? They participated.
I can answer that. On that grant, the town of Hopatcong put in over $90,000 toward that installation and like-kind work. And if the mayor's still there, if you want to ad lib on that or what have you.
No, that's it. We had to put in, I believe, 33 1/3% of whatever money they gave us, and so it's not like we did that for free. And in this day of age, when we have zero tax increases or try to, and everybody's in tough shape, if there's any money available being distributed to any commission or foundation that I know of, I will ask for their help to do this. It's not our lake. It's not the Borough of Hopatcong's lake. It just happens to be in the Borough of Hopatcong. But it is the lake. And what we're doing now, we're designing for the future. Using known methodology and technology. So, you know, I don't think that's a ridiculously high number, but, you know, if I don't ask, you know, people say, well, you know, why didn't you ask?
High number, but I'm sure the town, if somebody does the math, is getting a lot more money than the in-kind contribution of $90,000 towards the HAB grant.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we get no tax money from the lake. We get no money from the
by virtue of the increased property taxes and the municipality portion of the property taxes, yes, you do get more money from the lake.
Yeah, but if the commission doesn't help, then we go to tax court I tell you what, you talk to the people on Crescent Cove and ask them if they're getting their money worth out of their taxes, and ask them if they think the lake is.
Well, that's because half of their money goes to the schools. Half of that property tax goes to the schools.
Yeah, this is not a tax debate. This is an issue about the lake, and if the commission's interested or not, that's up to the commission. I'm not going to make that decision, but I will say that I presented my case, and I'll say it honestly.
No, the program, the treatment sounds great. It's just, I think.
No,
If I could,
it should be a two-way street, I mean, from the beginning, I think everyone should be involved. The two counties, the foundation, the commission, all the municipalities, the state government. It's everybody's lake. And it builds such goodwill if a municipality is doing something to the benefit of the lake. If we could show support, I'm sure we'll be going to Mayor Francis and the municipality with other requests from us as the time goes on. So I think
listen, we did not hesitate to respond when you asked for in-kind help for cleaning out anything. And Colleen can attest to that. We're very open to do that. As a matter of fact, I tell my DPW director to work directly with Colleen, and what you need in this borough, you get. So that stuff about, I don't want to go there. I really don't, because that's not going to be productive with me.
No, but that's great that you supported us that way. I know with the public works and the cleanouts.
If I could, from the foundation standpoint, and one, I think you really can't look at this as something that's being done for Hopatcong or for Crescent Cove. It's a technology demonstration of a technology that we aren't currently funding right now. And I think that's the way it has to be viewed, whether, we want to do some type of a share between the three entities, if you will, or something like that for this technology. And obviously I can't tell you if the foundation will support it or not, because I haven't addressed it with my board. But, certainly I think, everybody should have interest in a technology that could add something to the lake, the fact that it's in Crescent Cove, or, all these technologies that Fred's come up with your help and the mayor's have been spread across all the lake. They may happen to fall in Jefferson, they may fall in Roxbury, they may fall in Mount Arlington. This one happens to fall because it supplements an already existing grant. But all four towns really did put in a lot into the grant, the $500,000 grant. Everyone supported that, and each county put in $50,000 in actual cash. So, there is a lot of other money out there. So I think you have to look at the bigger picture when you look at this, and you look at it as a technology, not at where it's going. And I'm happy to take this as, if you want to look at it as a possible three-way share or anything else, I'm happy to take it to my board and see if they would support it.
I would be sad to see us not support it. Maybe we could split it up, Ron.
Yeah, I respect all your opinions. I think that I like the sharing idea. I've always felt that Crescent Cove was really suffering beyond what it should be. It's been a mess in there, and I would propose that we pay half of this, $21,000, if the foundation is willing to put up the other half. That would be.
Or the mayor finds the money somewhere else.
What?
Or the mayor could find the other 50% somewhere else.
Well, I'd rather that it came from the foundation, as Marty said, our shared
share of the thing.
Principles toward the lake. I think we've been on the right track in so many things now that it would be beneficial to continue this way. So I would like it to be on contingency of the foundation putting up the other half.
Do you need a motion?
Mayor, you haven't always been so kind to the commission. I remember when you sued us not so long ago. Just that jab in.
They didn't sue us, they wrote us a ticket, but I do think we need to focus on collaborative efforts here. And I just want to kind of thread the needle with something that the chairman started out with, and that's the concept of, well, if we give Hopatcong X dollars, then all the other towns are going to be looking for X dollars. When I look at the lake, I don't see borders. I see the River Styx being the worst area of water quality in Lake Hopatcong, and we have some new technology which we're trying to implement and trying to make a difference. And it's a demonstration project. And I guess that's different than unproven technology. The mayor said the technology is proven, but it has to be proven in Lake Hopatcong. We have to show success here. If we have success here, then maybe other towns can implement similar aeration systems. Look at Landing Channel, look at Woodport. There's a lot of stagnant areas in this lake. Henderson Cove, which is shared by Jefferson and Hopatcong. So this is a building block, like we tried a short while ago, hydro rain. There was a pilot project for that. I'm still not clear as to where that went. I'd like to see some follow-up reporting and some follow-up effort on that. So there are other technologies out there besides weed harvesting that we should look at. And I think this is a demonstration project that the whole lake should be looking at.
You know, if I could, well, a couple of things. Mind that there are 3 other aeration systems out there that Fred's already, mentioned. So, I mean, we are looking at aeration. This one is different and actually adds something to it. Now, I would ask you not to make your contribution contingent upon ours, because if the mayor can't come up with that money, otherwise I would hate for this to freeze because of that. Our fundraising is, as you can imagine, way down this year because just about every event we normally hold has been canceled. That said, my board may look at this very favorably, but I have to take it to them. And I would be hopeful of the results, and I'd hope that Mr. Steinbaum will make an even larger contribution to us. But that said, we do need to look at it that way. If you support it, I'll certainly take it. And I'm sure Jess will say the same thing, that we'll certainly take it to our board.
Yes, I'll say the same thing.
Can I ask Dr. Lubnow one question? This is something new. So if hypothetically, if this was to be approved and this project were to be measured this year and into next year, and if a success was shown, what are the chances of getting additional grants for this to continue it, not only in River Styx, but in other areas of the lake, whether it be federal grants or state grants?
I really can't answer that because I have especially now with COVID, I have no idea what sort of grant funding is going to be available. And most grant funding targets the watershed. What stimulated a lot of funding for lake stuff were the HABs last year. But right now I know of no definitive source of funding you can go to try to get money specifically for these in-lake techniques. Now, EPA usually has a HAB grant program. We remember last year we tried to get some, but last year the focus was on Florida and it was on the Great Lakes. I have no idea, number one, if EPA is going to have that program again, and number two, are they going to designate Florida and the Great Lakes again? I just don't know. They literally just announced the 319 grants that were submitted at the beginning of the year. There should be another round coming up. Again, I have no idea if this type of technology would fall into those grants. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but it all depends on what DEP wants to fund.
I think this is legislation because you have to begin somewhere, and it's like these sediment faults and the whole thing with the absorbent pillows and the whole upstream and downstream monitoring, improving that technology works. I mean, that all started somewhere, so this has to start somewhere.
I agree, and what started it were, unfortunately the HABs really ended up releasing a lot of that funding. The only thing I can say is I don't know where the funding's going to go. I mean, we can certainly ask and be persistent with DEP and explain, that this might be a viable technology. And if we have data to back that up, it makes it a stronger case. I'm just saying I don't know where the state and federal agencies are going to go, particularly in the climate of COVID and the way the economy is just so topsy-turvy right now. But, it's something we can definitely keep reminding DEP that or EPA that we're working on that may have some viability to it.
Well, in the new legislation, and Marty, you can attest to this, Mikey Sherrill has included New Jersey along with Florida, so the lakes in northern New Jersey are specifically included in the new legislation. So we may have opportunity there. And this is legislation about HABs, by the way.
Yes.
So we are
yes.
included in that specifically, right, Marty?
That is correct. We've been included with Lake Okeechobee and the Great Lakes.
Yep. And that would really go a long way.
Well, it comes down to lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Yeah, and from a structural standpoint, it's so good to have the commission working with the municipalities and the counties. And if we're all on the same page and helping each other together, it's a much bigger picture. So structurally, I think it's good for the commission to support the mayor in this.
And absolutely, because I mean, just a couple seconds ago, we were talking about being aggravated with various land use boards and threatening litigation. Now here, we have an opportunity to help. So I really think we got to focus on getting everybody on the same page. And I think, this could be Landing or Woodport that we're talking about. I would still take the same position, not just because it's in the Borough of Hopatcong, but River Styx has historically been the worst section of Lake Hopatcong.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm not looking at it that way exactly. I'm just looking at it as the participants in the lake.
Yeah, we all are. We have an obligation to help participate in things like this.
And if
We have
Fred,
an obligation to try new things.
Fred says it could work, it could help, and it's not going to be a danger. If Fred was saying, oh, this is not questionable or something, then we should be recalcitrant, but to do it. So, Mr. Steinbaum, don't you think we could just put our half in and show our spirit?
Why don't you make a motion?
Sure, I move that we fund half the request and encourage the foundation and the mayor to find the additional funding, and we want to be participants and all work together. And if other municipalities have projects that make sense, we should work together towards them. And of course, we'll always be asking the mayors and counties for things too, Todd. It's a two-way street.
No, I'm on board, Bob. I'm just putting an alternative viewpoint out there.
Oh yeah, property tax.
I'm second the first sentence of that motion before it became so spread out.
Pardon? Oh, concise motion. Yes, I move that we approve half that requested amount and encourage the mayor and the foundation and others to find financing for the other half as a cooperative effort.
Second.
Can we make it a certain dollar amount instead of just saying half?
Yeah, how much was it? 21?
21,360.
21,360, so we could pay 11.
Do $12,000.
12, Ron, good.
I
That's
come
my
up with
motion. There's a
10,680.
second. $12,000.
Second.
Any comments, questions? Would you call a roll, please?
Crowley,
Yes.
Senator,
He's muted.
Senator, is he on?
I'm on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry. Hoferkamp,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Pravs,
Yes.
Steinbaum,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Tessier,
Yes.
Will Susan,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. It's not so much about property taxes. This affects our businesses. And I'm really worried about our businesses around the lake, not just Crescent Cove, but the whole lake. If we have another problem like last year with the COVID and then the storm and being out of power, and now if we get whacked with the HAB, we're in serious trouble. So anything and everything we can do for our lake, we need to do.
Agreed. Yep.
Next item.